Hi everybody, I'm gonna be picking up where I left off the other day. I think I'll try to have story writing on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And with that, I'll continue. So we revealed our character's arm, that it is an undead arm, and he's gonna be able to use his ability with it. So with that, oh, I forgot. Okay. I brushed my hand along the edge of nearby boulders, feeling for the presence of something I could work with. That will do the trick, I said aloud, confidently. To be exact, I am able to use elemental magic as long as I can touch an element that has some sort of magical vein. Okay. I can use elemental magic as long as I can touch an element. Yeah, an element that has some sort of magical vein. The rocks surrounding me began to roll. Okay. The rocks surrounding me began to roll. Okay. The rocks surrounding me began to roll. Slowly up my arm. It created okay. The rocks surrounding me began to roll slowly up my arm, encasing my arm in a protective earth layer. With enough time and effort, my arm eventually turns into the element that I am using. This alone isn't enough to defeat the giant. However, it is an important start. Even closer to the earth elemental, I tried to get its attention. Waving my arm in the air and sending a few blasts of earth in its direction. It paused to look at me, hardly noticing me, but I did hear roar. Okay, I'll just do a normal roar. But I did hear roar as a response to my efforts. After one last boulder was sent in the direction of the men and horses, it picked up one of its feet and aimed to crush me under it. And aimed to crush me. This was easy enough to see coming, so I rolled or dodged out of the way. I was merely buying time for the. I was merely buying time for feeling out the spirits. What I mean by this is I have I have the ability to communicate with elementals that have passed that have died. Or I can't. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna move that back. What I mean by this, I can communicate with elementals that have died. Maybe I'll put spirits. Sorry about that. Okay. What I mean by this, I can communicate with elementals that have died. Not communicate, but if they are willing, I can allow them to join me for a time and I can body can change into the elemental that was once living. My body can change into an elemental. Body can change into an elemental that was once living for a limited amount of time. For the next few minutes, I was moving around as not to be demolished from my from my foe. Then I felt the presence of a fallen elemental. Thankfully, most elementals, most of these magical creatures are territorial, and many of the many of their lands are passed on through generations. When I felt, when I able, when I, okay, I finally, I was able to make contact with the spirit. The spirit. Contact. Finally, I was able to contact the spirit. Hello. I am. I am requesting your permission to stop the earth elemental that is feeling threatened by our men's, by my men's passage through these lands. Can I please borrow your powers to communicate with and end this conflict between us. Essentially, this was my message to the dead creature. It sort of works out differently from a guess um interpretation perspective. Perspective. Here. The reply came in a tone of approval. I would imagine something like human tire of your trespassing. If this is what you want, I will accept, and you will leave this area. Again, it isn't word for word, yet it isn't word for word. It is more of a feeling, like talking to figure out, more like a feeling. I gave a reassuring expression, and with that, I started to transform. The best way to put it, I become the core of the once dead elemental. I become the core of the dead elemental. As one might imagine, it can be stressful. Raising my the earth around me took shape, and I myself, and I and the spirit became a two-story earth behemoth. While in this state, I am able to fully converse with other elemental, with other magical creatures, which can often hurt, uh, maybe help or hurt, depending. Okay. I can fully converse with other magical creatures, which can often help or hurt depending. The roar from earlier became clearer to understand. Human, dare you take possession of my grandfather? I am going to squish you once and for all. The this opponent came barreling toward us with high speed. Um, Unfortunately, sometimes it takes me a little while to get my bearings, and in the tackle he sent me tumbling, knocking over trees and changing and further changing the landscape. All the while, we began fighting each other with earthy fists. Hey, I need you to stop for a moment. The humans only want to get through to the other side of the mountain pass. This came as a cheap shop was one thing hit was in the jaw or the elemental that was eating me was. It still hurts to me. I have heard that before, and still they keep taking my land and pushing creatures like me and pushing beings like me further from our rightful lands. This time he flew into our gut and we buckled over. Before he could throw the final blow, Grit took before he could throw the before he could throw the final blow, I let the spirit take control. Grandson, listen here. We need to allow this human to do his job, and he can send them away. He made a promise to me. As I listened from inside, I understood more of what was going on. Okay, I'm gonna maybe add a few more. This was said as we caught the punch and turned the hand backward, and we gave a bear hug to the grandson from behind. Let's see. This was said as we caught the punch and turned the hand backward. Then we gave a bear hug to the grandson from behind. his hand backward. Okay. I will listen. Yeah, maybe wait. Grandfather, why are you doing this to me? I could hear the sadness from the rumble it gave. Remember what I told you before I died? I said to watch out your family and told you before I died. I said to watch out for your family and keep them safe. This fight with humans is not good to continue. It's the response from a wise counseling. Listen from one side, I understood more of what was going on. Asked if I could get a word or a word in and was permitted. Oh, sorry. Don't always try to do that. I'm probably gonna end this soon, so I'll put in and was permitted. I know you are upset with the humans. I can make a deal with the leader to move some of the roadway, some of the path away from your land. After a moment of silence and backing out of the bear hug, he sat near the stream and talked more. Okay, I'm gonna pause here. I feel like that's a good ending point for today. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please don't be afraid to give me insights of what I can do better. I know I'm new to this, but thank you, and hope you have a nice day.